and welcome to Wine, Whiskey, and Words. I'm Daniel.
I'm Brad.
If you've listened before, welcome back. You're familiar with the show. We haven't changed anything. If you're new,
I changed my shirt.
you showered too, I hear.
No, I didn't do that.
If you're new, each episode we try something to drink, often wine or whiskey. Occasionally we branch out and try something different. Then we talk about something interesting since the last episode. Could be anything from a picture we saw to an article we read or a book or anything that just happened in our lives. And finally, we talk about the topic we chose from the previous episode. We do our best to research and prep most of the time, or I do anyway. Sometimes we nail it, sometimes a little less so, but we try. And our main aim, though, is just to have fun and share our lives with our listeners. And we hope you enjoy this journey. If you're back, we assume you did last time. So, with that said, let's begin. This week, I'm going to give away one of my interest, something interesting. Brad has turned me on to.
Oh, I turned you on?
Yeah, he turned me on to a book called The Wine Bible, and I'm reading the section about France. So I decided to go with a French wine, and I chose. I apologize if you're French, and I'm doing my best here. The Chateau Gigognan. Is that what we decided?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Claude Rouge Chateauneuf du Pape. Right? Close enough. And this is from 2019. Claude Roi means the King's Vineyard, and the Chateauneuf du Pape means the new castle of the Pope, because apparently at one point there was a castle built in the region where this is from for the Pope. So that's where that name comes from. But it is a variety of wine. It's a blend. And the Chateau Gigognan is in the Rhone Valley, and I probably massacred that as
No,
well.
that's fine.
And it's close to Avignon, which is where the papal
Papal.
papal
I think.
yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
the Pope's castle was actually built. There's 110 hectares of vines in a landscape of rolling hills, parasol pines, and olive trees. I copied that directly from the website. So anyway, so one of the things about this region of the Rhone is it's pebbles, it's rocks, it's very rocky. So you get a lot of minerality in wines. So I thought that was interesting. This vineyard apparently has a history that goes back 1,000 years or more. But the owner currently has only owned it since 2017. So this is a blend of wines that is 70% Grenache, 20% Mourvedre, right? And the rest is Syrah. So the taste.
Oh, yeah, it's a GSM.
Yeah. So oh yeah. Oh, look at you, man.
Yeah.
This is why we keep Brad around. He knows things. But it says that it has flavors of ripe black cherries, new leather, ground pepper, and loamy soil. It's medium bodied, and it's we're probably drinking it a little early because it says it was to be drunk in 10 to 12 years. So we're probably a little on the front end.
What year is it?
2019.
Okay.
So we're a little early,
A little
but
bit early.
might still be good. But we're gonna give it a shot. So we've been decanting this for maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
About, yeah.
So Brad, I'm gonna let you do the honors because you're less messy than I am. Brad convinced me after the last episode to clean my decanter. So
Yeah.
fancy. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
So right off the bat, this is a really dark wine. You're not going to get any color through. It's not like a Pinot Noir where you're going to be able to look through it and see the other side of the glass. I definitely get that deep cherry.
The chalk.
I get maybe a little bit of chocolate on the nose.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give it a taste. So I definitely get that this is medium bodied. I get a little bit of tartness at first.
Hmm. Yeah, the tannins. This could have definitely
Yeah,
laid down for a few more years,
yeah. I feel like the
and
tannins are really strong in this one.
it. I mean, if you're drinking it now, most likely decanting it for an hour.
Yeah, I'm not sure we decanted it long enough, but
No, no, no.
um, I will say right now this bottle at our local ABC is $35.
Okay.
It's usually apparently goes for around 50 to 60. So I might go buy another bottle. I'd see how this has a lot of potential. As it rests on my tongue, I'm getting a little bit of plum in the back end. Um, the flavor doesn't go away. It sits with you for a minute. But yeah, you get a lot of tannins. I could see this being good with a steak, but it's not going to be. You don't want like a really heavily seasoned steak. You're going to want maybe a little salt and pepper, something nice like that. Yeah, like I said, I like this though. I think in the past I've only tried a few GSM blends and I enjoyed them, but I think I could drink a bottle of this. Of course, I could drink a bottle of most things. Brad, what are you doing? Are you playing with your phone?
No, I was looking for an order that I had placed from Wine Spies. That was a Chateauneuf du Pape.
Okay. So one of the things about this wine, apparently it's handpicked. All the grapes are handpicked. They don't use mechanical pickers or anything like that. It's not a high yield wine. They produce, I mean, probably a decent amount, but not a ton. And it matures for 18 months in tons and barrels. I think tons are the concrete um, things that they produce it in, but I'd have to refresh my memory on that. So, but no, I see this really. I like this. This is, if I want a light drinker that's not going to kick you in the face. This is nice.
It's not bad. I definitely would probably enjoy trying it, as I said, with a little bit more time. So it's one of those things where set it aside,
Yeah,
pick it back up in another 10, 15, 20 minutes and see.
yeah. All right, Brad. So what's happened that's interesting in your life since the last episode?
Wow. Well, I got a cold and then went to the Minute Clinic and then ended up, excuse me, it was telling me no, it wasn't allergies like I thought it was. It was a cold, thankfully not COVID. And then she talked to me about, vaccines, and I'm not doing the another COVID one yet, but I definitely said get the pneumonia and the shingles because I'm old, and and so I got that done today. So my arm is sore. Um, what else? What else is going on? Looks like I'm going to be heading down to Miami in, oh God, next next month.
Okay.
Um, because just for a day, because it's been a year since my aunt passed away, so it's the
Okay.
unveiling of the tombstone. Um, I'm going to see Fishbone
Oh yeah.
on Sunday. I'm driving to Orlando.
Nice.
So
Where are they playing?
House of Blues. They're
Okay.
opening for Less Than Jake.
I remember Less
So
Than Jake from
less
back in the day.
less
Yeah.
than Jake. Bite Me Bambi is also going to be performing. So I'm looking forward to seeing this. And the thing that I've seen Fishbone perform 5 times, but their lineup has changed over the years. This is the first time I've seen it when it's been a major lineup change. Now, Angelo Moore is the lead singer. Uh, he's been there the entire time, but pretty much everyone else left. Disagreement in certain things, whatever. But the one of the original people that hasn't been in the band for, you know 17, 18, 20 years came back. and
Okay.
he was another vocalist, um, great songwriter, Christopher Dowd. So I'm excited to see this lineup.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I just took another sip of this wine, and I don't know if I'm just weird or
Well,
if I'm
we
getting
know
just getting
that.
something different. So as you were speaking, I was getting kind of an apple aftertaste
Hmm.
on my tongue. And then I just took another sip, and the weirdest thing, what I tasted was, remember the old like cherry um, Kool Aid?
Yeah.
Like if you took away the sweetness, I was getting the flavor of cherry Kool Aid out of it, and it's nice. I mean, it was not unpleasant. It was, of course, I used to love cherry Kool Aid, so, um, but I got a little bit of that. So I like when a wine, when you taste it at first and then taste it again, it
Yeah.
you get something else, or as it rests in your mouth after you've taken a sip and swallowed, you get a different flavor. So
Hmm.
yeah, like I said, I think this is gonna open up a little bit as we talk and get better.
Yeah.
So
And oh, also my my cousin's youngest got engaged,
woo,
Natalie. So
congratulations!
yeah, yeah. So uh, I think that's the first of that generation.
Wow,
Yeah, to get engaged now. So
well, cool.
yes.
Well, so my something interesting, going back to what I had said earlier, is Brad. I guess after the last episode, we were talking about books or something, and he said
Yeah.
that he was going to start rereading the Wine Bible. Well, I said, "Hey, I could do that." So I've never read it, but I could decided I could read it. So I went on Amazon, looked for it, and two books came up: the Wine Bible and this book called Wine Folly. And Wine Folly is kind of a neat book. It's got a real nice cover. It's kind of like an infographic guide to wine. It does have a beginning section of handling and serving wine, how to smell and taste it, how it's produced, and things like that. But that's a very small fraction of the book. And then it goes into like all the different kinds of grapes. It has this whole section where you get one page. The Arroyan, I guess, is a grape planted in Spain. It's primarily used for brandy. And it lists the alcohol body, sweetness, tannin, acidity, and even where it tends to grow. So, like, that's almost exclusively in Spain. Um, the Semillon is a grape that's made. It's mostly in Sauternes, which is Bordeaux's dessert wine, which I truly love, and I'm gonna bring a bottle one day. Mostly in France, but it's also made heavily in Australia. So like it's a really neat guide. So if you have a chance, take a look. But I also bought the Wine Bible, and it is more of a readable book. It is very well written. Apparently, it took her 10 years to write it the first time, and it's in. I think this is the third edition. So it's got a lot of like little pictures, and it goes through all the countries, and it just takes a different approach where the other is very this is all about the grapes. This talks a lot about the regions. So, like I said, I'm going through France. There's a solid 150 pages of France. It goes into Italy, Slovenia, even
Yeah.
smaller producing
That
countries.
goes into a lot of the history. It goes into uh, where you're likely to, plant grapes for good effect. Um, what areas, what'll happen if it's too hot, if it's too cold, and all that.
Yeah, one of the things that talked about with this particular wine we're having in this region is I forget the name of the wind. There's a really sharp wind that blows through this region, and it forces them to grow grapes only on like certain sides of the hill. And if you're at the top of the hill, those grapes don't tend to do very well for wine because the wind hits them and they get too cold, they get too sweet, things like that. You kind of want it in the middle of the hill. So like it's just neat little facts, things like that. They confirm something that I never knew about champagne. um, I always thought it because I never really liked champagne flutes. I just thought they were kind of pretentious looking. And apparently that's a pretty common opinion that they're not the best glass to drink champagne from. They say the coupe is not great just because it's so shallow and the bubbles just disappear. They actually recommended just using a regular white wine glass.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like I said, neat books. I highly recommend them. I think if you're looking for something that's more of a reference, check out Wine Folly. If you want something that's a pleasurable read, um, definitely go with the Wine Bible. It's very well researched and written. My only criticism so far, and again because it starts with France, as far as the countries, this may be limited to that. But she is apparently lauded as the expert in wine, and a lot of the recommendations that she makes in terms of, oh, these are great wines from this region. I looked, I'll go through and I'll go, oh, wonder if I can get that at Total Wine. I can for $250 a bottle, and that's not on my budget, unless Brad's buying. So,
You on crack?
so anyway, but like I said, I can't recommend those enough. I thought it was a good recommendation, Brad. Thank you.
Welcome.
So, all right, Brad, it's your topic. I'm going to let you introduce it.
Well, it's a really easy topic, and I, thought later on it's not really a lengthy one, in my opinion, but it's we're talking about the candies that we had when we were kids.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I thought it was. I didn't. I was like, what are we going to talk about? But as I went through and started thinking about my childhood and the candies that I went through, like I got all these like nostalgic moments and these candies that I have just sentimental attachments for. I am not eating Pez while drinking wine. Sorry, that's where I draw the line.
What?
I don't think wine pairs with Pez well.
Pez pairs with everything. Not bad.
I'll pass. So you know
Spidey.
what? Pez actually did not make my list because I did not like Pez as a
Really?
child. Yeah.
I loved Pez. I mean, it was fun.
It was, but like that, those only served one purpose, to dispense Pez. Like it wasn't like this was an item that you can.
These
do
are
something.
collectibles.
Oh, come on! How many of these do you have at your house? You bought that for this show, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So don't give me collectibles. Did you bring samples of candy? Was this your deal?
So Pez is a great one.
Yeah, no, Pez is great, and I actually picked one that's kind of similar in, I guess, texture and flavor.
What would that be?
When I was a kid, we used to buy the Smarties candy necklaces and bracelets.
Oh, that's a horrible fucking candy.
What? It's like the same thing. It's like powdered condensed sugar.
Yeah, but this is better.
But like, it's fun. Like they're like elastic. You put them on, you get sticky because you're eating it while you're wearing it. Your parents hate you for it.
You want to talk about a fun candy?
Are we gonna try Pop Rocks and wine? Are our like stomachs gonna explode?
Hell yeah.
I feel like this is gonna be terrible.
That's Pop Rocks with soda.
Oh, okay.
Dumbass.
All right, I'm gonna have some Pop Rocks, and then I'm gonna drink wine, and then I'm going to die most likely. So I've got blue raspberry. This is.
I've got green apple.
I'm sorry to every enophile on the planet.
At least yours pairs better with the wine. All right, so I'm gonna.
You know what? Surprisingly, not bad.
Yeah, this doesn't pair well.
Mine does. Try the blue ras, man.
All right, you can have that.
This is a terrible episode. I should have picked the cheaper wine.
That popped to hit the roof of my mouth.
Yeah, the apple doesn't.
Yeah.
The apple really. Yeah. Not
Yeah.
a good pairing.
But Pop Rocks was one
Pop
of those things that
Rocks?
I loved.
Yeah, Pop Rocks, blue ras with a nice Chateauneuf du Pape.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Um,
Okay. All right. So going along with the candies that you can wear, Another one that was on my list were ring pops. Not because I had any like real attachment to them, but like it was just fun.
No, I loved ring pops.
Yeah, ring pops were great. Apparently, they were produced. They were invented by a product engineer at Topps, the baseball card company.
Really?
Yes, he actually was just trying to get his daughter to stop sucking her thumb, so he decided to make something that she could suck on instead, that she could wear on her thumb. So,
Now I've got one that this isn't the version that I had, but I remember I was when I was little, my brother and our father would take us to this sports center, um, and where he would play racquetball,
okay.
and we would sit at the counter, and we would always get like an orange Julius and a Charleston chew.
You know, Charleston Chew came up when I was researching these things, and I can honestly say this is going to be the first time I've ever had a Charleston
Really?
Chew.
Now this is a vanilla one.
Okay.
The ones that I grew up with were not the vanilla.
Is it
but
chocolate?
But apparently this is more similar. Okay, so it's chocolate, but then you're gonna have more like a vanilla nougat inside.
I do like nougat. It's too marshmallowy for me.
So I like that.
You're gonna have to give me some feedback on that pairing. I don't think that's
not
gonna
pair
work.
well. No.
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 Somewhere, I believe if the woman who produced the Wine Bible ever listens to this episode, she may just drop dead in that moment.
No, I'm sure she's heard much worse.
Yeah. I don't often eat candy, but I do like to wash it down with a nice French wine when I do. Another one that this is one that is so simple, and I actually don't even know that they make them anymore.
What would that be?
But something that really brought back some really fond memories. When I was a young child, probably like 5, 6 maybe. I remember near my grandparents' house, which I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, there was a little gas station with a convenience store. And when we would go to get gas, which we did somehow, they always needed gas, so we always went. We would go inside, and I was given like a nickel or a dime. And you could go in, and at the bottom shelf, they had these little like chocolate candy footballs, and they were wrapped in foil.
Yeah.
And of course, like that was like that, or like, I don't know, there was probably one other candy I could get, but I really love these chocolate footballs. And it's the first probably purchase that I ever made myself, because they would let me go in to the store, walk up to the counter, and reach up with my 5 candies and buy 10 cents worth of candy. And it just, like I said, I got a lot of nostalgia with this episode. So good call, Brad.
All right, I always liked those extreme kind of flavors. So like the reactionary, the really sour, the popping.
Oh boy. What do we got? Zots. It's another candy I've never had.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, then you're in for a treat.
Yeah. I'm sure. I'm not crazy about the sour candies, so hopefully...
This is not sour.
Oh, okay. I do like orange.
Yeah.
Oh, that's delightful.
Yeah.
That's
So
a nice
this
one.
is one of those candies where, wait a little bit, it starts to fizz.
Well, I'm not gonna... You have to bite it?
It's gonna happen
It'll happen pretty fast?
Yeah, because there's a little hole in there.
Oh.
It's starting already.
Yeah, mine's not working.
Yeah.
You gave me a broken one.
Yeah.
If I had known that we were going to do this, I would have given us like a trash bag so we can dispose. I don't know. Well, it is what it is. I got nothing. So, Brad, why don't you... whatever.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Mine's not fizzing.
Then bite into it.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, told you.
Oh, yeah. Whoa! Bite into it. Oh my god. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
A lot going on there. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I don't, other than the ring pop, and you know what? I had Warheads. Remember Warheads?
Yeah.
Back in the day. Warheads were like these really, they were only sour for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
But like, you put them in your mouth and it's like, whoa! I looked them up. They were invented in Taiwan.
Really?
Yeah. And, but now they're only produced in US and Australia. But they basically had this like sour powder, which was malic acid. The mascot had a name, Wally Warhead.
Okay.
So the only problem with biting a hard candy is now it's stuck in my mouth. So everything will taste like orange.
Yep.
So, good call, Brad.
I know.
I had some weird ones on my list.
Name one.
So something I don't even remember. Like I can't pinpoint ever actually getting them with anyone or anything. But a candy that I've learned is now discontinued that I would have periodically enough that I remember it from childhood. Brock's maple nut goodies.
I actually have that.
Really?
No.
I was like,
lying.
wow.
No.
Yeah. So apparently they like date back to 1912.
Wow.
Apparently it was one of those like carnival type candies and things. They came in a bag of loose hard candies. There were no wrappers or anything like that, and it had like a peanut butter cookie dough, like almondy maple. It was just really good and chewy. Really nice. But apparently last year they discontinued it. They no longer made it.
I did remember having those when I was little. By the way, Jamie and Mia will enjoy the rest of these.
Mia will. Jamie will be avoiding.
So.
Oh, we got some Jelly Bellies.
This is probably one of my number one candies from when I was a kid, because I remember we would go to this candy shop and I would fill this bag with my mother and my brother full of all kinds of the favorite ones that I wanted.
So like actual like flavored jelly beans? See, I don't remember Jelly Bellies being a thing.
It was
until I was in high school.
What was
like I remember jelly beans, but they were always like, you know, you had like flavors like purple.
Jelly Bellies rose to prominence basically in the 80s when Reagan.
Oh, okay.
Because this was his favorite candy.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But you've got all those different, flavors. They have popcorn, blueberry, cotton candy. I almost got the bad version. Which I don't know if you've seen.
Vomit.
Yeah. So there's one where it's all bad, and then there's another one where it's a mix of the good and the bad. And you could get chocolate, or it could be like shoe leather, or
Every time I think about jelly beans now, I think about Harry Potter, where they had the Bertie Bott's every flavored bean, and Dumbledore's like I don't like them because one time I got one that was like farts or something. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't farts, but yeah, like I do see like part of the adventure being like you never know what you're gonna get out of this bag.
Like this one is I think pear.
Okay.
And the one before it I had was coconut. Friggin'
candy really sticks in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize you were like bringing candy.
No. That wasn't the original plan, but
Jelly Bellies do not go with the wine.
Well, it depends on the flavor.
Yeah, well, the last one I had not really working.
Blueberry didn't do too bad with this one.
Man, that's like right along the lines of the blue raspberry.
Right.
Like that works.
What else do you have on your list?
Let's see. Oh, you know what? This one I really remember as a kid. It was because it was like my early days of reading. Laffy Taffy. Remember Laffy Taffy?
I do remember Laffy Taffy.
Yeah, like it was great. You had it was jokes inside the wrappers. The taffy wasn't bad either.
You mean this?
Oh, we got some Laffy Taffy. I thought I was gonna have to supply my own jokes. Like, Brad, what do you call a cow with no legs?
What?
Ground beef.
Oh, jeez.
What's an owl's favorite subject?
I don't know.
Algebra. Do they not have jokes on the inside of the wrappers anymore? This is the lousy. I refuse to eat this. There's no joke. Jokes on every wrapper. It actually said. Oh, I see. Now they just put it on the back. That's lame. What type of brief packs a punch?
What?
I don't know. It doesn't give me the answer. This is the worst. Does yours have jokes? Mine
Yeah.
doesn't. Does it have answers to the jokes?
I'm looking. Oh, yeah.
Oh! What type of brief packs a punch? A boxer brief.
Why do phones ring?
Why?
Because they can't speak.
What? How does a cyclist train for a race? He recycles.
God.
Yeah, man. Laffy Taffy is good. Sour apple Laffy Taffy. That's delightful.
How do cows communicate?
I don't know.
They have mobiles.
Wow. Apparently, at one point, Laffy Taffy did like a contest where you could send in your jokes and things. Another nice thing about Laffy Taffy is like it doesn't lose its flavor. There are certain candies where like
No.
you start out and it's great, and then it just loses its flavor.
On the same side as Laffy Taffy, Airheads.
Yeah, I remember Airheads. That
Now,
almost made my list, but I didn't.
I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
Watermelon or White Mystery?
Oh, I love White Mystery. I love the White Mystery, man. That was the best. I remember when that came out. They didn't have that originally.
So I don't remember, but is that basically could be any of the flavors?
Yes. Like I remember when they at first they just had Airheads. You just got whatever, but then they came out with the White Mystery, and it was like, ooh, what flavor is it gonna be? Let's see what we got here. It might actually be watermelon.
Really?
Yeah, that's some good taffy. I still think Laffy Taffy is the superior taffy. Airheads are just...
Airheads is a bit grittier.
Yeah. It's like they didn't quite get the sugar to taffy. Yeah. Well, another one that I had on my list, and again, another gas station story incoming, is candy cigarettes. Cause like,
okay, yeah.
Back in the 80s and early 90s, like you were still allowed to like smoke and be cool a little. And I remember the daycare that I went to, we would get to go on field trips where we actually walked to the local gas station. We had fancy. It was a fancy daycare. But like, our parents would give us a little bit of money. We'd go get some candy in the store, and we'd all want to get candy cigarettes. And you'd like walk around, and they were terrible. Like the worst candy ever.
Yeah.
Like they were barely sweet. It was like chewing on like sugary chalk.
Was gum though, right?
Oh well, they made gum ones. Like
that's the ones that I had.
Well, the ones we had were like it was like chalk.
Yeah.
It was like chalk sticks that had like a little coloring on them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but apparently, there's a lot of controversy around them, and but they had like they came in packs that opened like a cigarette pack. There was.
I remember part of the fun was when you pulled it out, and this was the gum ones. I would blow, and because it still had that coating of sugar on there, it would give a puff of
Yeah, you
smoke.
get a little fake smoke. Yeah. Yeah. So apparently, many countries have actually banned them. Like the list is very long. Like I was thinking maybe like one or two countries, like the UK. I could see them banning it, but many European
Yeah.
countries, especially, have banned candy cigarettes. In the U.S., they just can't say cigarettes on them,
Okay.
so
Candy stick.
they're often now called candy sticks. But the names are still there and all that stuff. And I see you're pulling out the Nerds.
Yes.
Yeah, Nerds was definitely on my list as well. Um, apparently they were only launched in 1983. I didn't realize that. What I realized was so many of the candies that I really got attached to were made by Willy Wonka. Like they're like Willy Wonka brands. What
the
flavor
real
is
guy?
this? Yes.
Yeah.
Oompa Loompas and everything.
Watermelon. Watermelon and cherry.
That's some good stuff, man. Apparently, the way they make these is they just put them in a big bin and they put sugar, and it just keeps coating itself more and more until it looks like this. But you always got two flavors.
Yeah.
But if you want to like go next level on your Nerds action, though, have you tried the gummy Nerds clusters?
No.
It's like gummy candy, like a nice, soft, chewy gummy candy coated in Nerds. Unbelievably good. Like you will eat a bag and not even realize it. It's dangerously.
Now, on a fun aside, when I was in high school, my dad worked at this place called Merchant Distributors, and so basically it's a warehouse where they were the distributors for a lot of the candies and stuff.
Okay.
So he would bring a bunch of the stuff home, and then I would sell like Tootsie Pops, Blow Pops in high school.
Nice.
For some cash.
Yeah. I remember at my elementary school, it was probably like the school patrols or something, but like there was always like the candy table. Yeah. Like you could go at certain times of the day and like buy candy for, a nickel or something. That was always really cool. Yeah. Got Blow Pops and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So. All right, Brad, what else you got? In your magic bag there.
Well, I won't force you to eat this one because this is, I guess Mia will take this, but Chupa Chups.
So I never really understood the Chupa Chups thing. Like I loved a good lollipop, but like
different flavors. Like this is Choco Vanilla. This one is strawberry.
Okay. Like
creamy strawberry.
Oh,
they would have
that sound nice.
It's not the typical flavors that you would see.
Okay.
So that was a lot of fun with that. I also brought. What else do I have?
When it comes to lollipops, I was more of a Dum Dums guy.
Really?
Yeah, because like you got all the flavors, but like they didn't last so long, so you got to like eat more than one. It didn't.
Jolly Ranchers.
Okay. Jolly Ranchers. These look. This is wrapped differently.
Yeah, that's wrapped differently.
Like they used to be like twisties. This is like. This is wrapped more like a Now and Later. Are you sure these are like actual Jolly Ranchers?
Like these?
Yeah. Now and Laters are the worst. Like it's weird. Like I ate so many of them as a child, but like looking back, they always start out so hard, like to the point where like they will break your jaw. Yeah. And then like after a few minutes, they start to soften, and then they get very taffy like, and like it's. But so they no longer come in like because they used to come in like a pack of like 8.
Well, I got these at Five Below.
Okay.
So I could pick.
So this is the ones from like China with lead in them and stuff, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sour Patch Kids. So Jamie, when I asked her about candies from her childhood, she mentioned Sour Patch Kids, but I don't know that like that was a big thing in my life early on. I was like I said, I was an Airheads guy.
I was looking for anything that was sour.
Okay.
Like Warheads. Oh yeah. Like Warheads.
Oh wow.
I'm gonna give you a choice.
I don't want another hard candy, man.
You don't want another hard candy?
No, not right now.
Oh my god, you're such a bitch. Whoops.
Language, sir.
I also got lemon heads.
Lemon heads are very good, yeah. So along the line of lemon heads, another candy on my list that with my grandparents love candy. Like just absolutely love candy. Like to the point where like we would even eat things that weren't candy,
my
like they were
did
candy.
Not like candy.
So
like everything was sugar free in their house.
Oh god. I do remember when my grandfather father learned that he couldn't eat sugar, that he switched to sugar free, and I hated it. Um, but when I was kids, like we would drive around in his van. Like he took us everywhere in that van. It was not uncommon for him to be like, "Hey, let's go to dinner. It's 3 o'clock. We gotta go," because the place we were going to dinner was 2.5 hours away. Like he
Oh
would
my
just like
god.
he just explored. He liked to explore, and he had this big ass Econoline Ford van. And when I was a kid, they had taken like it had the two front captain's chairs, and then it had two center captain's chairs. And the back, my grandfather would like build a platform
Yeah.
and put a bed mattress. So like we would drive around, like rolling around in the back of the van, and underneath he'd had like storage for stuff. He'd have camping gear or whatever, like just in case he needed it.
Right.
And it was always the most fun because we go on these long trips, and kids get bored in the car. And
Right.
so like we'd like climb down under, like slide the boxes just enough so we could squeeze through, and we'd squeeze ourselves in
Right.
and get stuck. And like it was that van was amazing. But he kept Luden's cough drops, the cherry ones,
Oh
in
god.
there, and we ate them like candy. Like
Yeah.
we just sat there and ate Luden's cough drops all the time. It was amazing.
One of the the thing that I would always get. I think I always got it from like the ice cream truck because they usually had it. Was those the pouches with the powdered and
Yes,
then with the little stick and the candy stick and you dig that
Fun Dip,
fun dip. Yeah.
formerly known as Lickamade.
Not going there.
Yeah, so apparently the candy sticks were called Licka Sticks, and the powdered candy is exactly the same candy that are in Pixie Sticks.
Right.
They just gave it to you in a pouch, and you didn't want to eat the stick. Then the stick was terrible. The stick was really awful. But yeah, that's been around since the 1940s,
Well,
and again, part of the Wonka brand.
yeah.
Yeah, so my parents hated it because it was guaranteed that if I got one of those or a pixie stick, there would be sugar, flavored, colored sugar, all
Oh
over
yeah.
wherever I was.
No
So
doubt.
yeah, that was a good one.
All right. I'm gonna have one more, and that's it, and then the rest is going to Mia.
All right,
I'm gonna have the watermelon warhead.
go for it. Oh, another thing. So my another nostalgic thing. When I was a kid, we would go to Sonny's Barbecue a lot, and that's a kind of a. I don't think it's a Jacksonville brand, but the one near us is the like first one I ever realized existed. So
Yeah.
I'm going to call it a Jacksonville brand. We're going to claim it. And but at the checkout counter, because back then, I think now if you go to Sonny's, they check you out at the table like a normal sit down restaurant. But like back then, you had to like walk up to the counter after you ate.
Hmm.
And next to the counter, they always had this gigantic jar, like bigger than I was, of atomic fireballs.
Hmm.
And my grandfather loved atomic fireballs, just absolutely loved them. So like they were 2 cents a piece.
Right.
So we'd get a handful of atomic fireballs every time we went to Sonny's. So it was like a Sunday tradition. Um, yeah, man, like the nostalgia is strong. I got one more that I don't know that I really count it as candy, but I'm gonna count it just because this is my last grandparent's story.
Okay.
Um, in St. Augustine, Florida, there is a shop. Last time I was there, it was still there. It probably is still there. Called Savannah Sweets.
Hmm.
Savannah Sweets is known as kind of a candy slash fudge shop, and they made pralines. And pralines are a kind of an Americanized French confection that is like a mix of nuts and sugar that's been caramelized, and they kind of make it into this like fudge like thing. The American ones are more soft because they add cream to it. They originated in Louisiana and are more like pecan centric instead of and we can discuss how to properly pronounce pecan later.
Pecan.
Pecans. But yeah, like we would drive and go like get like boxes of pralines to bring back to Jacksonville. It was only like an hour each way, but yeah, like pralines were one of the favorite family confections. Even I remember until he died, my uncle would still go down probably once a week to get box pralines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pralines were good stuff. I don't know. Does that count as candy? I mean, it's kind of candy like. I don't know. It's like a cross between a cookie and a
Confection or
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they sold candy in the shop, so
Right.
we're gonna call it candy.
Whatever.
All right. Any others, Brad?
Um, just one thing that always amazed me were those, and you found them a lot at. I mean, you find them a lot at the zoo, at Disney. Those lollipops that were like this, like
Yes.
those. They
They were
sometimes
either
they'd be
the
like this
giant round
big.
ones or the swirly ones.
Yeah.
The unicorn ones.
Yeah. Like I always wanted those. I don't.
Were your parents always saying no to those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Jamie, I think that was the childhood tradition was like that the parents always said no to the giant lollipop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like Jamie tells me like she's like yeah my mom would always say no and my parents would always say no. I think I might have gotten one once.
Yeah.
But it's possible
Maybe.
I was like in high school because and
Right.
had my own
Yeah.
money or something.
Yeah.
That I could spend on them.
Yeah.
They were another messy candy because
Uh-huh.
you couldn't fit it in your mouth and
Yeah.
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 So
I hope Mia enjoys all of this.
I'm certain she will.
Yeah.
All of the half-eaten candies that we have.
Well, you're half-eaten candies. I ate my candies, and then there's this stuff which has not touched human hands and such.
What was the other flavor on this?
A cherry, I think. Yeah.
All right. All right. Lively.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I got nothing else on candy.
Okay.
It was a lot of candy.
Um, this week in Reddit.
Oh, actually, I do have. Sorry, I want to.
All right.
I want to
Fine.
jump back. Smarties, the little like powdery, chalky candy.
Yeah, we
things.
talked about that earlier.
Yeah, but like the ones that come in a little tube.
Yeah.
Did you know that in Canada they're not called Smarties?
Yes, I do know that because Smarties is a like more of a chocolate.
Yeah, it's like an M&M
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I thought I was gonna.
I did know that.
Thought I was gonna wow you. All right, go for it, Brad.
So this is one that I found. I do like those "Am I the asshole?" posts. Am I the asshole for ending it with my bipolar disorder friends with benefits? So I'm going to read. So long story short, last month I regained contact again with a long lost friend. We hit it off well, and by the third time we met, we actually, to my surprise, got intimate and became friends with benefits. Now, last week we had a conversation about how she thought I brought her to my friends to flaunt her, while I told her that I was hoping that if we build up something more serious, she'd also would vibe well with my friends. She then exploded at me, from screaming to shouting and from crying to telling me how I would leave her, just like every other guy she had a fling with, had a relationship with, or dated. And then in parentheses she writes she has borderline. Anyway, we continued to anyway we spoke about it, went to bed, and continued onwards. However, 2 nights ago, I woke up to her slapping my back a few times due to my snoring, and ever since then I've been walking on eggshells. Tonight she clamped my nose down with 2 fingers to the point of my almost gasping for air because of my snoring. And when she left to go and do some stuff, something just snapped. I grabbed all her stuff, sent her a long voice note about how I felt, how it made me feel, and that I felt like walking on eggshells, and that to me, it felt that if I said anything she didn't like, she could explode at me at any given time. I went to her place and put her stuff next to the door and messaged her that I don't want to continue with her anymore in any way, shape, or form. Am I the asshole for ending it with her because of this?
So, since this was such an obvious plug for this, without intending to be so, I assume, um, I'm going to actually make this into a book recommendation. First, I'm going to say this. If you are unhappy, uncomfortable, miserable in a relationship, you always have a choice of I can either try to correct it, which has varied results, but it is never an asshole move to leave if that is not fulfilling you or giving you anything positive. So I don't think so. I think absolutely not the asshole. Um, but it's so fascinating that he kept using the phrase walking on eggshells and even mentioned borderline personality because one of the best books on dealing with difficult and especially manipulative individuals that I've ever read, and I recommend it to people all the time in difficult relationships, is called Stop Walking on Eggshells.
Hmm.
It's now in like its fourth edition. I've given copies to many people, including my daughter. I read a copy that really helped me through a very difficult time with my ex-wife. Um, again, Stop Walking on Eggshells. Every American, actually everybody in the world, should own a copy, in my opinion, because it will teach you strategies to help manage your own mental health and respect yourself and draw really good boundaries with anyone, because we all exhibit those behaviors from time to time. Remember that there was a book and a movie called Girl Interrupted?
Hmm.
The girl actually was diagnosed with borderline personality, and she said something like "crazy as you and me amplified," blah 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 blah. But yeah, like it. Stop walking on eggshells. Read the book. It's great. And yeah, no, you're not an asshole if you need to
Yeah.
leave a relationship.
I just felt that I'm uncomfortable anytime that I can't that I can't predict behavior
Mm-hmm.
when someone is just going to explode when they can't be logical about something
Yeah,
or can't be considerate of others. Nope. Nope out.
I've actually said this, and I think it's a control thing for me. And I've kind of worked on this a little bit in writing, journaling, and things. Is like I actually have a hard time, like if I'm walking through a mall and there's a group of kids that like start just keep having loud outbursts or just abnormally, I don't know,
They're loud.
loud or just like doing those unpredictable things, I get really uncomfortable to the point where I'm like worried something horrible is going to happen. Just because I'm like you, I don't like those unplanned outbursts that no one can predict.
Right.
Not a fan. So yeah, like I said, I'm with you there.
So, Daniel, what's the topic
All
for
right,
next time?
so not counting our friendship, Brad. The next week's topic is best friends throughout history. And when I say throughout history, I mean real friends or imagined. These can be stuff from a movie, from literature, mythology, anything you want. Anything you got. Best friendships. Why are they the best friendship? Like what was it that defined them? Like I think this will be a really interesting topic. I think there's some really good ones out there we could talk about.
Done.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. All right. We talked about anything to add to the other candy topic, which by the way, don't eat candy and drink wine unless it's like
What's that? Chocolate with wine.
yeah, like
Chocolate.
dark chocolate with certain wines will work,
Yeah.
or white chocolate with the ice wine. Yeah, like
Yeah.
like that'll
Yeah.
work. There are pairings, but like for the most part, like this shit, not a good pairing. Like right now, the wine's not working for me.
Yeah.
So, um, that would be my final word is don't do that. Well, we had a lot of fun this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to it. I hope that some of the candies we brought or Brad brought or we brought up uh, brought back a good memory. Please hop on our Facebook and all that stuff and share some of your favorite candies.
Just what I was gonna say.
We can mention them on the next episode
Yeah.
if you do. Um, Also, if you're not aware, we are on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I hope you're aware because that's probably how you're listening. Um, at least one of them as Wine, Whiskey, and Words. We're on YouTube as Wine, Whiskey, and Words if you want to watch the video of us. I think Spotify has video, right?
Spotify does. Yeah.
Yeah. And then our email, unfortunately, wine, whiskey, and words, surprisingly, was taken.
Yes.
So we are wine, whiskey, and word
Yes.
at gmail.com. And we gotta reach out to that guy and be like, hey,
Yeah.
we need this. What do you?
I'll threaten him.
What do we got to do? We'll make a special episode. We'll bring you on.
Yeah.
And then our website, winewhiskeyandwords.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode and look forward to sharing the next one with you. And cheers.
Cheers.